Hello, in this video we will discuss about the hyperandrogenism in female. So we will learn about the what is the hyperandrogenism in female. So first of all we should need to understand the reproductive system of the female. Here is the ovary, fallopian tube, and this is the endometrium, and this is the cervix and vagina, and this cervix and vagina, and this is the endometrium, and uterus is inside. So the pair of the ovary are present contain fallopian tube in the normal female. So here is the hypothalamus, which does contain neurosecretory cell, which secrete the follicle stimulating hormone releasing factor, a gonadotropin releasing hormone. This gonadotropin releasing hormone, which that will stimulate the adenohypophysis of the pituitary gland, which that will release the luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So remember, so the follicle stimulating hormone release first. That follicle stimulating hormone will target to the follicles, the primary follicle, to mature for maturation, and that is known as the follicular cycle. So this is the ovary, cross section of the ovary, which that show the primary follicles. These primary follicles will basically select via a binding with the follicle stimulating hormone with the receptor with the primary follicle. So the primary follicle will begin to develop. So the developing follicle will. So in this way, the developing follicle will become a mature. That mature follicle is known as the Graphene follicle. And this Graphene follicle basically contain a character which that's contain a thecal cell and granulosa cell. So we will learn also. So this is the mature follicle, which that is after the basically it will rupture when the follicle stimulating hormone will inhibit, and due to the progesterone secretion, this progesterone will inhibit the follicle stimulating hormone. After the inhibition, the liberated ovum release is known as the ovulation cycle, ovulation phase, while the follicular phase to ovulation phase. And after this, the yellowish glandular structure which that is form the corpus luteum, that is known as the luteal phase. And the corpus luteum produce the progesterone and estrogen for the mammary gland development. And on the other hand, if the pregnancy will not occur, so the corpus luteum, corpus albicans will form, and degradation will lead to again the follicle stimulating hormone stimulation to produce again the mature follicle. So that many follicles, primary follicle, are present in the single ovary. So this is the Graphene follicle we will discuss. This is the mature follicle, which that is contain are different things. So let's begin to understand. This is the periantral granulosa, and this is the periantral granulosa. And on the other hand, the zona pellucida and the oocyte are present, which that is wrapping around the zona pellucida wrapping around the oocyte. And this is the thecal external layer of the cell and the thecal internal. Between the thecal external and thecal internal, that is the blue color is showing the theca interstitium, which that's contain thecal cell. So thecal cell and granulosa, the membrane of the granulosa is the inside, which that is wrapping around the follicular fluid. So in this way, here you can see this is the first we will discuss the thecal cell. This thecal cell contains receptor, the basically is the G couple protein receptor, with bind with the luteinizing hormone first. So remember, the luteinizing hormone will bind, will activate the second messenger. The second messenger is known as the cyclic AMP. The cyclic AMP is the second messenger will activate the inactive protein kinase A. So the protein kinase A will activate, will lead to crab stimulation to activation, the phosphorylation. Will target to the crab into the DNA to release the P protein 45 OC70. which that will basically convert the cholesterol into the progesterone. So that is the normal function. And the androstenedione and the testosterone will be formed in the thecal cell. After the production of the testosterone in the thecal cell will go into the circulatory system or go into the granulosa cell. So when go into the circulatory cell, here is a male sex hormone binding globulin. If there is a lot of SHBG, decrease or increase. If the increase, so the high level of SHB are associated infertility. While on the other hand, the testosterone will not work too much in female, so it should go and convert into the estrogen into the granulosa cell. So the testosterone is the lipid soluble steroid, and here is the basal lamina between the apical cell layers and the granulosa cell layers. So this lipid soluble testosterone will enter into the granulosa cell, and after this the estradiol conversion due to the aromatase activity. So here is the follicle stimulating hormone first bind. So the function of follicle stimulating hormone, the cyclic AMP to grab to protein kinase A, will activate bind with the DNA to produce the aromatase enzyme. After the translation, this aromatase will trigger the testosterone conversion into the estradiol and estrogen. So that is very important file. Here the follicle stimulating hormone, if deficiency, will lead to testosterone high. So remember, because the follicle stimulating hormone will bind with the granulosa cell to produce the aromatase. So aromatase inhibit, not aromatase produce. So that is why. And the hyperandrogenism will be formed. So anyhow, here I am drawing the hyperandrogenism containing female. So let's begin to understand the whole picture. So this is the basically the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis dysfunction. Why? Because the hypothalamus will not trigger the gonadotropin releasing hormone. It means the follicle stimulating hormone will not produce. And this is why the testosterone will increase. And in this way, the hyperandrogenism will be occur. This hyperandrogenism is also the type of polycystic ovarian syndrome, and this is the abdominal obesity will be occur. This abdominal obesity is due to the diabetes and insulin resistance. While on the other hand, the steroidogenic dysfunction and the steroidogenic dysfunction, on the other hand, the disease occur in the heart, the cardiovascular disease. So the cardiovascular disease. On the other hand, the pancreas release insulin will target to the thecal cell. When target to the thecal cell, the development and proliferation of the thecal cell as well as produce the testosterone more will not convert into the estrogen due to the granulosa cell will not function due to the not binding with the follicle stimulating hormone. So in this way, the insulin resistance will more into insulin produce will insulin cause insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes mellitus, and that is why the insulin will function to increase the testosterone more. While on the other hand, the chronic anovulation will occur. Why? Because the follicle stimulating hormone will not produce estrogen after the binding. So the estrogen is very important for the ovulation. So the ovulation will not occur. So the polycystic ovarian syndrome is same, which that will lead to an amenorrhea and infertility, because the ovulation will not occur will lead to cause the polycystic ovarian syndrome. While this is the irregular menstruation will occur due to the chronic anovulation is known as a polycystic ovarian syndrome. While the testosterone will increase, it will lead to cause the female balding, thick hair, loss of hair, and the oily skin, acne, hairs on face, deep voice, and hypomestia, decrease of the mammary gland, and the weakness or increase the muscle. On the other hand, let's begin to understand the causes. So the causes is, for example, in normal female, in healthy women, the ovaries and adrenal glands produces about 40 to 50% of the body's testosterone, and but it convert through aromatase enzyme to estrogen for the female hormone. So the tumor or polycystic ovary syndrome can both cause too much androgen production, and Cushing disease is problem with pituitary gland that lead to excess amount of corticosteroid. While on the other hand, this is basically the Cushing disease we will discuss in the next video, and also the polycystic ovarian syndrome also discussed in another video. But this is the diagnosis we will discuss. This is the measurement of serum androgen for checking if the more, so we should need to decrease and aromatase stimulator drug. On the other hand, the estrogen injection or hormone therapy, and is a lot of diagnostic things which that will lead to decrease, but I am not mentioning here. And sex hormone binding globulin check, and high level of SHB are associated infertility or decreased sex drive and libido and reduced growth. So that is the problem of the hyperandrogenism which that occur in the female due to the follicle stimulating hormone dysfunction, which that will lead to all physiology disruption. So I hope you make sense. Please make sure to subscribe if you like this video and share to your friends and give the comment for suggestions. So thanks for watching. Bye.